So now that Carol and I have been set straight, we've been set on the path for permission marketing. We're going to be juggernauts in the industry shortly after this. By the time you hear this podcast, Carol and I are already going to be retired. We will have quit the online trainer show. Jonathan will obviously at that point be beneath us. We'll have no use for him or contacting him anymore at that point. And we'll be fighting over who gets to keep Amber, obviously.
This is the online trainer show, trainer show, trainer show. This is the online trainer show.
We shouldn't have a podcast.
We missed you, Ren. Where are you?
I've never heard anybody say that to me.
That's my way of roasting you for being late, because now I get to say that you were the one who was late, not me. It was you, not me.
I think this is the first time I've ever been the last person to chime in for a podcast. No, Keto, you think it's not?
No.
Now, you weren't here 25% of 2020. How do you know what the numbers are?
2020 was a very difficult year for all of us, Ren.
It was a very bad year when I was 17. I think that's a Sinatra song. I can't remember the name. What does he say before that? Yeah.
A very good beer.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I had a very good beer when I was 17.
It sounds something like that, Jonathan. So now that I'm here, I guess we can start the show, and we're talking about things that I have no clue about. I can genuinely say that when the Jonathan Goodman, first of all, it was too early for this type of direction for our podcast. It was at least we like to decide on topics within the hour of recording. Jonathan was like 3 or 4 hours early today. It was off-putting, and quite honestly, I feel uncomfortable knowing for that long a period of time what the subject of the podcast is going to be. That's the first thing. Second, I think he made up a term. I got to put it out there. I don't know that this is a real thing. I tried to Google it. I didn't find anything. Full disclosure, I did not try to Google it. I just said that for the purpose of the podcast.
If you did, you'd find out that Seth Godin wrote a book literally with the exact same name.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Seth Godin, is that the guy from Married with Children?
No.
It's a different Seth. It's a Seth something?
That was Seth Green.
Seth Green. Yeah. Oh, and he wasn't on Married with Children. That was David Faustino. I'm getting
this is Seth Godin's latest.
Oh, that's okay. Godin. Oh, his last name sounds like a Lord of the Rings character. I'm very interested in this topic all of a sudden. Yeah. Golden the Gray is coming. We're under siege. Reach out for Seth the Golden. Shout out to you, Seth Godin,
with his wand again.
Right?
Why doesn't he ever do anything useful?
Shout out to you, Seth Godin. Whatever kingdom you're saving today. So, Jonathan, what's the title of the thing today? It's what?
Well, I want to talk about permission marketing. I want to talk about what I meant. And there was a book written by Seth Godin many years ago called Permission Marketing that kind of ushered in a new era of marketing.
Okay.
And so this is an extension of that, a paying homage to that, I guess, in a sense. A lot of people are doing marketing, I think, in the wrong way, and that's why it's not really working for them so much right now. They're being very responsive in their marketing. They're marketing things when the things are ready to go. They're like, I have a workout program. Come and buy it from me.
Right.
And so what I wanted to talk about today, once we're finished the nonsense segment of our episode, which will be a while.
Obviously.
I'm it up right now, but then we're going to kind of get away from it and I guess get back to it.
It's our way.
And exactly. And I have 4 caramel squares to eat.
Oh, that takes precedence, obviously.
It does. We don't
want to distract you from that, Jonathan.
No.
Into the value section of the episode. But what I wanted to talk about is how to engage people in the process of you building your thing, getting feedback from them, which has really 2 purposes. The first purpose is to get real feedback as you are building the thing to make sure you're building a thing that people want.
Right.
And the second is that That way, when the thing is ready, there are other people who have been involved in the creation of the thing. It's very, very hard to call somebody up and be like, "Yo, Carolina, what's poppin'?" That's what I say. "Yo, Carolina, what's poppin'?" That's what I say when I call Carolina. What's poppin', dog? Yo, I got this thing. Can I tell you about it? Right. If somebody reached out to you and they're like, "Hey, I have this thing that I want to sell, or I have this thing I want to sell you. Can I talk to you about it?" Like, it's going to be hella hard to get them on the phone, even if you talk with the slang that all the kids talk with that I just demonstrated just now. But
which is very clever, by the way.
But what if you were to reach out? Like, what if I were to reach out to you, Carolina? It's like, "Hey, Carolina, I'm thinking about building this thing. I've done this, and this already. Can I get your feedback on it?" You know, I really respect you. I really think that you're smart, and I'd love for you. You know, I'd love to get your feedback and for you to tell me a little bit more about what you do to help me improve this thing. Like, you would get on the phone with me, right? Even if you hardly knew me, you'd get on the phone with me.
Yeah.
And I say this because this is the process. A lot of the process that I'm following with the software project that we're doing, which is getting more and more exciting. Basically, we have our prototype. We put it through the first series of testing. And the results were very positive.
Very
but we
good.
also learned a lot. And so it's a completely new way to do things, which is interesting. And so, yeah, really cool. But what I've started to do is basically reach out to a whole bunch of colleagues that I respect. And I reached out to them and said, "Hey, can I get on the phone with you sometime in the next few weeks? Backstory, we have a prototype for software that is being tested right now, and I'd love to ask you a few questions about how you do what you do specifically to help us improve the software." Every single person has said yes. And I've already had a whole bunch of the conversations, and they're great. I mean, it's a great way to network. I have something, like, I haven't shown anybody the prototype, but to be able to say I have a prototype, I've thought about this thing, right? I have something. And then, of course, so the phone calls are like, I ask them about how they do their programming, how they deliver their programming type thing. And then I tell them a little bit about the software and about why it's different and why we're doing it and the process we've come together. And I try to kind of alter it to how they do it and what they might be interested. And then I just say at the end, look, totally cool if not, like, totally fine. But when we have the prototype a little bit farther in development, like, I'd love your feedback on it. It's cool if we jump on the phone then, I'll reach out to you. Of course, everybody says yes. So now I have permission to basically demonstrate the prototype. And then it becomes much easier after that, if they say that they like it, right, to ask for help in getting the word out. Yeah. But if I ask them for help in getting the word out, like, this is like a 4-month process. You see what I'm saying? Where they're involved in the process. They're helping me make it better. I'm increasingly networking with them. And I'm making the product better because they are giving me incredible feedback. And also, like, I'm understanding the use cases better, like all this type of stuff. So I'm able to build something that's going to fit more people. But then when it comes time to actually promote the thing, there's a whole bunch of people who already know about it, have been involved in it, and feel some ownership into it. That's permission marketing. And that's why it's so powerful. Okay, nonsense again.
That's amazing. Again, it reminds me of when I play PlayStation with my little cousin, and I give him the controller that's not hooked up to anything, and I'm like, "You're doing good, bud. That was you. You did that." That's how after everything you said, that's what I've taken away from the entire monologue you just delivered. I love how Catalina's top matches her books that are in the background. You're sending me into a fashion tizzy, Keto. I just don't know what to do with myself based on your ability to color coordinate. And I don't think it's coincidence that Seth Godin made a book that was made out of blue sky also. And as you brought that forward, it also matched what seems to be a rocking jacket. Is that denim? What is that?
It's
velvet?
a denim jacket. Yeah, it's a
very
denim
nice.
jacket.
It's got a little bit of tie dye on it. Are you giving me
it's like an acid wash.
Oh, you give me 80s vibes right here. In my head, I'm singing the theme to Footloose and any other soundtrack song that Kenny Loggins recorded in the 80s. You could not have a good 80s movie without a Kenny Loggins soundtrack. I challenge you to debate me on this issue You got your Top Gun. You got Danger Zone. I went through the danger zone. You got your Footloose. Footloose, kick off your gun. Sunday, I think they were Sunday shoes. Because out dancing was outlawed there. What's the other? I can't remember. It'll come to me. Keto, any case, what's going on with you? How you doing?
Well, I'm good. First of all, I do have to challenge your assertion, though, because all the weird kids of the 80s are going to agree with me.
No.
There's this movie, Labyrinth, and the entire soundtrack by David Bowie. And it is the best freaking movie of all time, and right there. So no Kenny Loggins whatsoever. So if you agree with that, I want to see your comments and messages, and just shoot me all your like Labyrinth gifts and everything, because favorite movie, hands down.
Don't do that.
All
don't
time.
do that. In the movie Labyrinth, David Bowie, who's an 80s rocker, pop, you could say, he challenged. He said, "I've got 80s hair. How can we go bigger?" And that was the entire pitch for Labyrinth.
Pretty much.
So 80s hair meets fantasy, science fiction. Go, and then they had to get David Bowie for that. So, Keto, why does nature hate you exactly? Specifically this time? We've known this for some time. I'm glad you've been able to admit it now. What has specifically happened to allow you to turn the corner of self-awareness to realize that all of the environment is out to get you personally? What's happening?
I feel like this is my recovery group, because I get to show up like every week and be like, "Hi everyone, my name is Carolina. Nature hates me," and you're like, "Welcome,
hi Carolina."
Carol. Yeah, good to have you. So yesterday I was walking in the yard, and as you know, I'm a vegetable gardener, and so lots of pollinators and stuff. Yes, totally competitive. And so I'm walking around in this, I have this long flowy dress, and then a freaking bee got up inside my dress and stung me 4 times. Times on the side. But then I was like, ah! And I caught it and I killed it like with my hand, and I was screaming, and then it came inside the house with me. It was half alive. The cat is trying to chase it. I'm trying to kill. It was awful. And then there was the moment of gratitude, because I'm like, it could have stung me somewhere else. And it didn't. So for that, I am very, very thankful.
I have an instantaneous and endless stream of jokes here to deliver, all of which are wildly inappropriate. I don't know where to start. I don't know what on level of approach. I could go honeypot. I could go birds and bees. There's just so many things that I could say here. Jonathan, you want to take a stab at it? You've got caramel. What are you down to? You down to 2 left?
I got caramel. Yeah, I got 2 left. But
you got 2 left? Okay. We'll stall a little bit more.
Up in his teeth and everything.
They make your mouth water a lot. So I'm going.
All right. That's all right. You take your time.
I'm at top out for a second.
So Keto had
those jelly bean cupcakes,
Yeah.
Stuck in your mouth so much.
Keto, if you just joined the show, we found out that Catalina literally is the bee's knees. And nature hates her with great passion. But it also lusts after her for some reason. I don't get that. It's a love-hate relationship with nature for Keto. God bless you, Keto. I hope you've got some good ointment, some salve, as we say in the South, that can heal that. Now that wouldn't be something that how did you just that would not be a you the Vicks Vapo rub. That will probably only inflame things. So this is more of a what do we do in the case? I've never diagnosed a bee sting between the legs for a client or
soda. I do have Afterbite, which is like the commercial buy it at the drugstore kind of
right. Okay,
totally helps.
Okay,
But if you don't have that, baking soda paste.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
This is good to know.
Yes.
I'd like to see the expression on the Jedi Mayor's face as he enters a room to see you pasting baking soda in between your lower extremities.
I'd love to.
It wasn't there though. We're good.
Yeah.
Like what were you even saying? Like expletives that must have been spewing out of your mouth.
That's the worst part. That whenever I do get whenever adrenaline hits, everything comes out in Spanish. So it is totally like,
that would have been hilarious.
You default back to your factory setting, and so the original language, that's the one that comes out. So yeah, it makes it worse for sure. More entertaining for others.
That's a real thing. So
it is.
Some of our best friends, when we were living in Mexico, they were in the same place as us for 5 months. We got really, really close to them. And he was Swedish, and English was a second language, and she was from the United States, but Swedish was her second language. And so he was really, really upset because every time that they fought, he could only properly express himself in Swedish.
Frustrating.
She didn't understand it. And he's like, no, I need to tell you this the way that I need to tell you this, but I can't do that in English.
So for anybody that's outsourced in IT, in Spanish-speaking countries, a B up the skirt resets Mexican women to factory settings, according to Quero. So if you have to take that customer service call at some point today, write that on your chart or your chart of possible solutions to resetting the Mexican-born woman. Let a B up the skirt be the first solution that you offer to the caller.
Hey, I'm glad I can offer this insight. I know. I'm a wealth of information. I know.
You're a wealth of a lot of things, Carol.
Not all of them good.
Information is just a small percentage of what you're wealthy in. I can assure you of that. Oh my gosh. Amber's got the delts out today, so this is exciting. Yeah. Amber, is it 1,000 degrees where you are also? It's like 1,000 degrees here in North Carolina. No, not really.
For everyone else, but I'm always cold. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. So it's hot, but okay. I'm going to move past that. I'm going to allow that, Amber, and we're just going to move on. Jonathan, how many caramels are you down to now?
I have 2 left. I'm taking a break.
It's the kind of candy that makes your jaw hurt from chewing so much because they're so sticky. And it's like,
no, these ones aren't sticky. These aren't like the toffee ones. They're the thin ones. These are like one of my favorite candies. These vanilla caramels. You get them from Bulk Bar.
Oh man, yeah, I love those. I love
caramel. Imagine how bad they must be for you.
Oh yeah, they're not good. Probably. There's nothing good. Like there's no discernible value whatsoever to eating the carrot. Like it's probably not got a whole lot of calories, so you're not going to get that much energy. You'll get some quick energy, but there's no nutrients in it at all.
Also, it's just food today though. I've eaten way more food than I normally eat by this time today. Yeah, and today's a day off from training too, just because I was lazy this morning. So I feel like, yeah, right. I feel like on a day off from training, you should eat more to recover better somehow. I think
make it make sense.
Yeah,
I think that there's something to that, and so I figure I'll be back at it tomorrow if I don't feel lazy in the morning, and be ready to actually train legs. It's funny how every selected day off because I feel lazy happens to run on leg day.
That's same for me.
Interesting how that happens.
This is exactly what I did yesterday. This is exactly what I did. I hate training legs so bad, but I don't want to be shaped like Mighty Mouse. So I've got to train legs. Like I got to do it, bro. Like the let's just go ahead and say this, and I can say this because I am an African American and or Black male on the podcast, so I'm allowed to say this. So the views that are about to be expressed are expressly the views of Ren Jones and not in any way views of PTDC or the Online Trainer Show or the Online Trainer Academy.
I think that's just a general statement that needs to just
this should be on. Oh, Amber's going to have some audio controls soon. Maybe we can record that and play that before everybody talks. Amber forgot about her extensive audio controls. You didn't? Well, I need some applause after what I say, Amber. But in any case, it's quite stereotypical that the Black male fitness aficionado is going to have a improportioned upper body in contrast to the lower body. Like it's not unusual for people in my demographic to not train legs a whole lot. It's sort of like the hood body is more so upper body, and always having on pants, sweats, or baggy jeans. So I don't want to play into those stereotypes, John. I want to get some leg training in. So I make sure I've got 2 leg days per week now. I don't enjoy it. It's awful. It's the devil.
Same.
And they usually end up as one. Like, yeah, kiddo, I saw you doing the. Now, was that your coffee table? Was that your living room table that you?
Yes.
Who approved that in the home? Are you the ultimate authority there that dictates? Yes, we can do step ups on furniture. Okay, so thank you. Kettle's getting a call from her legs. They're saying they're tired. They're tired of her shit. So you were doing step ups on a very sturdy coffee table. I mean, this looked like a fairly heavy, well-built piece of furniture. Yeah.
Yes, that's why I trust it.
Yeah, my coffee table is like a set of boxes from Amazon. Like I'd step right through that coffee table. So we all in agreement that legs suck.
Yes, they absolutely suck. It makes me want to puke. It takes that much effort for me. Yeah,
I hate it. I don't know why it's so incredibly not enjoyable for me. Why is that, Jonathan?
Because it's not arms.
That's exactly why. That's exactly why, Jonathan. That's the kind of wisdom that people tune into the show to hear, by the way.
Why? What woman, not girl,
woman, grown woman.
I won't say what woman cares about legs on a guy? Like, come on. The only reason that they're with us is because of our arms.
We care.
The only reason they're with us is because of our arms, obviously. That's why we work out. I mean, this isn't just a man's opinion talking over women, okay? Like, obviously.
Tell us what we like, Jonathan, please, because we don't know. We forget, so please inform us what we like.
I can say conservatively that 90% of your commentary, Jonathan, is just a man talking over women. Like, that's 90% of what you contribute here falls into that category. But yeah, it's all fun and games till it's sexy time. Sure, have your baggy jeans, gentlemen, and your sweatpants. But when it's bow chicka wow wow time, that's when things are revealed. And nobody wants to do the horizontal mambo with Mighty Mouse. That's all I'm saying. That's your PSA for today. Yeah. Here I come to save the day. Mighty Mouse is on the way. I used to love Mighty Mouse, by the way.
That's what I say. That's what I say every time.
That's what I'm saying.
That's his jingle.
Why don't we take this to the bedroom, Jonathan? And he's like, "Here I come to save the day. Mighty Mouse is on the way." Amber said it's time for us to get moving into the podcast. So, Jonathan, I can tell you that I thought this was going to be a dud initially. I wanted to coast through this podcast. I didn't want to pay attention to anything that you said at all. But interestingly enough, I am rebranding my program, right? And I think what I'm about to do is technically permission marketing. And I never heard the term. So I'm actually going to pay attention the whole time today. What are you going to
do? Talk to me about what you're going to do.
Here's what I'm going to do.
Let's do this.
This will be fun.
Let's do this.
This will be fun. So I'm about to be the guinea pig.
Yeah, tell me what you're doing, and what we can do in real time is set a permission marketing plan.
Let me get my notepad out
and launch.
Get my notepad and my pen
listen to the episode. You've already proven to us that you don't listen to the episode.
That's exactly right. I think I've done that early in our career here.
We had a secret word that we all decided on for the episode that you were not there.
Oh, really?
And we decided that we were going to use the word and see if you actually listened to the episodes, and if you did, then you were supposed to use that word in a story, and you did.
No, I didn't. Is that episode out?
Yes.
So,
today.
I haven't listened to any of.
Us.
I haven't listened to the last 2 or 3 episodes at all.
You already failed us, Ren. It's okay.
That's all right. Hey, well, do this. Don't tell.
I'm not going to send you a jelly bean cupcake in the mail.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't want your damn cupcake anyway. How about that? How about them apples? Jonathan.
So let's start because I'm going to totally borrow from today because I'm going to do something similar. So yes, I'm highly invested now. Let's do this. All right.
Now we actually care what you have to say, Jonathan. So let's see what you do with this level. You've never had this pressure before on the podcast because we've never cared what you were saying. Now you got to show up, sir. Like, we're going to see if you got the ability to show up. So here's what I'm doing. I am changing from my methodology, my messaging of dropping 2 sizes. Nothing wrong with that. But as I gather more information, I want to be a little bit more well-rounded in what I offer. And I want to allow much more autonomy from my potential client, typically moms over 30. So what I've noticed is that there are these warring factions, right? You've got the healthy at every size movement, who is sort of demonizing women who want to lose weight. I think it's their body, it's their autonomy. If they want to lose weight, let's work on losing weight. On the other side of that coin, you've got the people that are like, hey, after a certain body size, you are no longer healthy, which is demonizing the healthy at every size people who maybe say, we just want to exercise because it feels good. We want to be stronger. We don't necessarily want to affect the shape of our body. Shrinking is not our foremost, goal here. I want to allow those methodologies. I want to allow those people to coexist. So what I'm proposing is a freedom program. I'm going to call it Women's Liberation Movement in parentheses. And part of that will be in this program, you have the autonomy, the freedom to pursue weight loss, to pursue strength. I'm not only working with people specifically pushing you towards losing body fat, et cetera, et cetera. Did I give a good overall understanding of? So it's all built around freedom.
You're going to give women the choice to vote.
Absolutely.
This is women's suffrage 2.0.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, Jonathan.
You're going to give women the choice to choose.
You summed it up in the most patriarchal way possible. Thank you.
This is what I do. I simplify things. Okay. So most of what you just said to me is completely irrelevant.
Okay, that makes sense. I think that's fair.
And that's only because you don't know which parts of that are relevant or not yet, because you haven't really spoken to people or figured that out yet.
Right.
Let me give you an example. One of the guys that I spoke to yesterday, for example, his name's Doug Larson, runs one of the guys who runs the Barbell Shrug podcast. Mm-hmm. We just caught up with the call yesterday, spoke about the software, spoke about what they're doing. And long story short, they have a Diesel Dads coaching program that they put up. And one of the posts that's really, really interesting, basically this is for busy dads. And one of the things that they do there is he has effectively 3 streams that people can be on. Mm-hmm. One of them is 15-minute workouts. One of them is 30-minute workouts. One of them is 45-minute workouts. And I found that really, really interesting because it just shows that he really understands his audience. Mm-hmm. Right. So, and the way that they've built their programming, basically, like if you're going to work out 15 minutes at a time and kind of fit it in whenever you can, he's like, these are for the people who are like working out 3 to 3:15 a.m. before they go on for their day. Right.
Right.
It's like they're doing, I'm sure I'll bastardize this, but basically they're doing like 5 times a week for very, very short spurts. And he built the programming with that in mind, knowing those people.
Right.
And that's the type of thing where I imagine you can have a very, very short conversation with somebody and basically say, look, there's going to be different streams here. And you can actually flow back and forth because I know that your life gets really, really busy sometimes. And so, there's different programming. And here's why I've built the programming differently depending on which type in. And for any period of time, I recommend for sure, if you can, to stick with like one of the streams, but you have access to all 3 at any point. Right. That's brilliant because it's one thing it's one problem that's very easy to understand the problem, very easy to connect with the problem, and very easy to discuss the solution and talk about how like you've built this solution with it in mind. You don't know what that thing is yet. For your program. All of the things that you just said to me about the program are not specific enough. And they're not easy enough to understand at first glance and look at that and be like, this is for me right now.
Right.
For this one reason, right? You're not going to be able to have 3 or 4 different things. You're going to be able to say, this is for me right now when I know that this is what I have to do right now. Because I identify with this one problem. So here's how you figure it out. Here's how you're building this permission marketing type engine. Basically say, hey, I've put together a lot of the pieces, like write out some sort of a statement like this. I've put together a lot of the pieces to build my new, or to build out a new coaching and accountability program for moms out of everything I've learned from the last X amount of years I've been working with moms. But there's a couple things that I really want to make sure I understand. And I'd love to connect with you on a chat to ask more about you, to understand these things better. And so then, I think lead with like a statement like, hey, can we jump on a quick call sometime in the next few weeks? Is your first line. Your next bit is basically that statement. And then just at the end of it is like, if that's cool with you, feel free to send me availability, or I can send you a calendar link with basically availability anytime, and you can, schedule directly in a time that works for you. Send that to old clients you've lost touch with. Send that to colleagues who, fit that market. Send that to, this is a great way to network with colleagues as well, by the way. Fantastic way to network with colleagues. Send that to people. Put out like a call to action on your social media. Right? This is it's way easier to get somebody on the phone talking about something like this than it is getting somebody on a sales call. And then over the course of your call, you want to have a bit of a plan for it. So I basically have I figure that the call is going to be 20 minutes or so talking about them. So give them a very quick, it's like, hey, I start every single call and I said, hey, what's up? I'm really, really excited to tell you a little bit about what I'm putting together. But first, I'd love to ask you a few questions about you and about how you put things, about you and about, some things important to you before I tell you about what I've put together, because I don't want what you to say. I don't want what I'm about to say to kind of influence what you're going to tell me. Is that okay? Yeah, for sure. So then I just go and, you'll ask about maybe their day. You'll ask about maybe some prior experiences they had. You'll ask about what they're really looking for. You'll ask about why what they might have done in the past didn't work. Like figure out the top 4 or 5 things that you want to know, and not everybody will fit in it. And what I often find is that if you do a good job, people will basically tell you right away, like the main things. And then when you feel like you've collected enough information, you'll be like, oh, thank you so much. Like I said, what I'm trying to do is just speak with a whole bunch of amazing moms right now to really nail the different types of things that have to be in a program. There's a lot of things that I could include, but I really want to make sure that I nail the most important things. And what you've said really helps. And if you could pick out 1 or 2 things that they've said that really helped or surprised you, or that you might think about more, then do that, but you don't have to. So here's like a little bit about what I'm putting together. And then you basically pitch what you're doing for 5 or 10 minutes to them. And you pitch at the beginning and say the problem, right? Here's what I believe. Here's what I've seen over the years. Here's why a lot of the stuff that I've seen maybe doesn't work that well. And if you know that you did that well, if they're like, yeah, like they should be like nodding their head there. And then you say, okay, well, here's what I want to do very, very quickly, whatever the kind of the key points are. And then you say, look, totally cool if not. At the end of it, you just say, thanks again so much for your time. You really, really helped me kind of formulate this. And look, totally cool if not. Obviously, I'm so appreciative of chatting to you now. But look, when this is a little bit further developed, in a few weeks, in a month, whatever it is, I'd love your feedback on the structure. Is that something that you'd be willing to talk on? And every single person's going to say yes. And at that point, then you thank them. And I have just a little spreadsheet that talks about when I talk to them. I have some notes, like some bullet point notes. And then on the side of the spreadsheet, I have like features to consider and stuff like that. And then I just put like a why if they say yes, that I could talk to them. So now I know, when I spoke to them originally, a couple notes important about them, because I'm taking notes in my notebook and then putting them on the computer. And then when you've developed this thing and you have some stuff to show them, like ideally for the next call, you'll be able to actually talk them through the program, but you'll be able to actually show them some assets too, and a couple different designs, and be like, hey, does this speak to you? Does this speak to you? Whatever. And then at the end of that, you can say, at the end of the second call, look, I'm planning to launch this on X date, but I'd really love, friends or friends of friends to be able to get access before, because I'm going to have limited number of spots. Like, is this something that somebody that you know of might be interested in? And basically, sorry, I wouldn't quite say that. I would say, when the time comes, would you be willing to help me kind of share word of this? And a lot of the time then, if you've hit it right, because you're talking to people who this is right for, right? A lot of the time they'll be like, oh my God, yeah, like I'd love to know. And you can decide at that point whether you want to take a small deposit. You might even say like, hey, like, look, I mean, this wasn't even my intent, but like, if this is really interesting to you, I mean, I'd love to reserve your spot in it. Like, all that I ask is just a small, like $20 deposit. If you decide it's not right for you, then that's totally cool. But like I said, there's just going to be limited spots, so whatever. So you take like a $20 deposit, and then when the time comes, you tell them and you ask them to help spread word, and they were a part of it. Like they were a part of putting it together. And the more people you speak to, the better, right?
Right.
Like this is what marketing is. This is why I say to people, if you start marketing something when that something is ready, you're 4 to 6 months too late.
That makes sense.
No, I wouldn't say 4 to 6 months. Like you might not be 4 months out of launching this thing. You could do this
I hope to God not.
Time frame.
Yeah,
you could do it in a condensed time.
Yeah.
I mean, for a software project, it's different, but you could do this in a condensed time frame. But that's the general idea.
Yeah, I love that. Keto, was that helpful for you for your thing that you're about to get due permission marked? I feel like Keto's already good at it because she's always sort of, oh, it's on the way. Oh, it's 2 weeks out. Oh, it's 17 days out, but not quite like.
Not quite there. Yeah, I do a lot of that. However, I could be a lot more effective at asking input from people, because it's true, once they've been involved in the process, it's like they already have buy-in because they almost helped create it. So they believe in it because their input was taken into account, their voice was valued, and they know that they've contributed like information that is helpful to them. So they automatically already know that the final product is going to have some aspects that are helpful to them because they insisted that they be included. So I haven't been all that great at that part, which is why I'm very interested in this topic of like kind of like bringing people in throughout the process, and I guess asking questions. I can see it also happening kind of like in Instagram stories, because you have the option to ask a question and then they can select yes or no, or this A or B or whatever. And so you make it like interactive, and it's so easy. Anybody on their phone can just in the moment kind of like be giving you answers, but you're already bringing them in. And then you can private message them like, thank you for responding to my question in my story. Can you tell me more about, and then, you're bringing them in even more.
Absolutely. So I love that. That's a great point, Keto, because it was my plan next week to go into Instagram stories to do those leading surveys that allow you to both get information from people and involve them in a way where they're responding, and you can respond to them further in DMs and set up calls and things like that. Jonathan, I like this idea. I learned quite a bit so far about the methodology, and I'm eager to implement this. So the podcast is over. Is what I'm trying to say. That's it. We're done for today. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So I've collected some data, right? Like how many iterations, and this, I know it's going to be different for every situation, but is it easy for me to, easy is not the right word. Is it logical for me to then take away that data, go and say, boom, now I got a finished product, or am I going to have sort of an intermediately complete thing that I may discuss once more, or I'm just going to base it on however the process is organically happening as I'm going through it? Like, what are your thoughts there, Jonathan?
Well, my guess is you probably have a pretty good idea of your product already. What you don't know is what kind of the main like sexy thing is aspect of it is going to be. Like,
what's the thing?
What's like the simple deliverable? What's the thing? Yeah. My answer to you is one iteration of these basically calls, and then put out something for sale.
Right.
And you're never finished.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. That's so true.
You're always going back every single time you do a group, every single time you have a client. You're always considering how that can be improved. You're never finished.
Yeah, it's the same philosophy I have with cake. So just not ever. Are you done? No, I'll never finish. Is the cake gone? Stop asking me stupid questions. So now that Carol and I have been set straight, we've been set on the path for permission marketing. We're going to be juggernauts in the industry shortly after this. By the time you hear this podcast, Carol and I are already going to be retired. We will have quit the online trainer show. Jonathan will obviously at that point be beneath us. We'll have no use for him or contact him anymore at that point. And we'll be fighting over who gets to keep Amber, obviously. It's not a
custody battle.
Because we'll be in a heated custody battle for Amber Reynolds. Between the three of us. So Jonathan, in terms of this permission marketing, like does it work across the board for the people that do what we do? Like, do we do enough of it as coaches who are presenting programs to the world, or do you think that we're much more likely to, as you said on previous podcasts, to try to build it in a cave and then come out with like, I got this whole big ball of crap nobody wants because I didn't ask anybody up front.
I got this whole thing that I thought way too hard about without ever putting it in front of anybody, and never spoke to anybody. And now I expect that everybody wants it. And oh my God, why is nobody responding to it? Right. It's so interesting. Whenever I've A/B tested, like split tested paid advertisements, like anytime I or our team will split test paid advertisements, it's never the one you expect to win.
Right.
That wins out, that converts the best.
Right.
No matter how long you've been doing this, I mean, this has nothing to do with experience or inexperience. I mean, people have been in marketing for 50 years, still test everything and assume they know nothing because they're constantly surprised. You can't possibly try to build anything in a cave by yourself and expect that you're going to hit it right. It just simply doesn't work that way. And that has nothing to do with you being good or not good or other people being better. Anybody who builds something in a cave and then puts it out into the world is going to be disappointed when they put it out into the world. You have to take in real feedback from people, right? And you're going to be surprised. You're going to be surprised at what images are going to win out, at what appeals are going to win out, at what type of products are needed. I mean, our software platform that we were looking at building originally started as being basically an artificial intelligence bot that was going to augment trainers' programming. It's not that, in fact.
Yeah, that's scary.
It's basically the exact opposite.
Yeah, that's how humanity gets wiped out. First of all, John, have you not seen Terminator? Like, don't poke the AI bear, buddy. That's not a good thing. So I think we've learned a lot here. We've learned that Carolina is the bee's knees. We learned that Amber is not unlike the out of date and no longer available McDLT from McDonald's. She not only keeps the hot side hot, but she keeps the cool side cool, like the McDLT did it in McDonald's. And Jonathan delivers great information when he's all hyped up on multiple blocks of caramel candy. He's gonna need a side order of glucophage with his stack for today. Maybe some metformin. So this has been another just outstanding episode of the online. Oh, and we learned that I don't listen to the shows because there was a code word that I totally missed. I've let everyone down here on the team. Oh, and to further let you down, I'm going to be away the first week of July, so there's no online.
That's
I won't.
My birthday, like
it's your birthday,
July 6th, the Tuesday. That's my birthday. So
I'll be back
dare
then.
you?
I'll be back then.
How dare you, sir?
I think it's the first and the second. I don't know. What of those days? I'll email Amber. That's her problem now. Not mine. So permission marketing. There's a book that's out there about permission marketing by Godin the Gray. Is that his name? What's his name? Godin the Wizard. Okay, Seth Godin the Wizard. Go rush out and get that on the audiobook if you like to listen to your books, and you can listen to that right after you listen to this episode. Jonathan, you seem pensive, as if you'd like to say something, but it's not worth your time, really. He's just exhausted by my nonsensical exploits today. It's just been a dynamic version of the show today. Hey, we're sponsored by somebody. By the way, if you guys want to get some of this sponsorship stuff, we're sponsored by the Online Trainer Academy. onlinetrainer.com/OTA, I think is what it is. It's been a long time since I said that. And we also have show notes. Although I didn't see a lot of show notes the last time. onlinetrainer.com/podcast is apparently where the show notes. Oh, I didn't go to that website. That's why I didn't see the show notes. I was looking for the show notes under the broadcast. That makes sense. That's why I say that every time we do a podcast, because that's where the show notes are. Gosh,
it's taking a long time to finish this episode.
Yeah, that's so let's wrap it up here. Jingle.
This is the Online Trainer Show. Trainer Show. Trainer Show. This is the Online Trainer Show.
We shouldn't have a podcast.